Hello there everyone, Ashnflash here, and welcome on into my spoiler review for Star Wars The Acolyte. And this video, oh my goodness, it's going to be broken up into a couple of different parts if you're unfamiliar with how these videos work. We've got non-spoilers, then spoilers, and in spoilers we're going to go into different topics, and you can find chapters and time codes down below, and then we will talk about Lego talk as well, what they could have done for the show, because I definitely think there is some stuff that they could have and should have done. Let's go ahead. Let's get started with non-spoilers. Non-spoilers. As you can hear in my voice, probably, I'm not really looking forward to talking about this. Oh man, it was rough. It was rough. It really was. I don't know how else to say it. The writing, the pacing, just so much of this was just bad, and affectionately I called it with my friends the bad Acolyte, because it was just so bad. And I remember when it was announced, I think I might have been streaming when it was announced. Maybe it was a part of the other announcements, or I don't fully remember, but when it was announced, that was one of the things that I was like, man, that sounds so cool. That this show is genuinely, I think, one of the things that I was most looking forward to. And it's finally out, and I really did not like it. It was very disappointing for so much of this. I'm looking at the episode lengths, and they're just all over the place. The way episodes were ending, and the stories and the flashbacks, it was just so over the place. It was so obvious what was happening with so much of the story and different things, and other times it was so confusing, because how could some of these characters do and be so dumb? And yeah, let's what else can I say about this? My friends, some of them were forgetting that it was even airing on Tuesdays at this time. Like, it was just something that came out, and a couple of them forgot, because they're not hearing great things. They saw the first few episodes, they're not interested. So many other of my friends didn't even bother watching this show because of that, and rightfully so. Like, I get why you wouldn't want to watch this. It just doesn't, it treads water is probably a good way to say it. Like, they just borrow so much from other stuff, and they're trying to make you do the Leonardo DiCaprio thing of pointing at the screen, being like, "Oh my goodness, I know this person. Oh my goodness, I know that they're like Anakin. That's crazy." So let's go into spoilers, shall we? Talk about Mae and Osha. I don't care for them, to be honest. I did not enjoy their characters that much. Maybe where they're at now, I guess. Maybe with Mae is more interesting than the entirety of the show. Didn't like them as kids. It didn't make sense that they were different actors as kids, and then they're played by the same actors when they're adults, and they're also the same person, they're saying. So that didn't really line up. Their origins just felt so weird and contrived, and I don't know. We'll get to that in a bit, obviously, when we talk about the witches. But I also just want to talk about their allegiances, and their motivations were just, from episode to episode, just all over the place. It went from, okay, I'm going to kill all the Jedi, right, with Mae, and then, nope, you know what? I'm not going to kill the Wookiee Jedi. I'm all in. I'm going to turn myself in. I'm going to help Osha. And then when the Sith rolls up, when Qimir shows up, and she's like, you know what, now I only care about myself, and I'm only going to run away. And then it was also, I'm going to cut my hair, pretend to be my sister, also maybe stabbed her. And it was all over the place. And she still was a monster as a child. Like, no matter what way you cut it, she was still harming animals. She still started the fire. She still burned that. Regardless, she still said all those horrible things to her sister. All that was still said. But I think that we're just meant to forget about that, because Jedi bad, I guess. I don't know. And Pip as well, I guess, by an extension of Osha. I really enjoyed little Pip. Very cute. I'd love a Lego version of that, which we'll probably talk about. But that was also strange, especially in that last episode. Like, all of a sudden, Mae cares about Pip. She was like, better hold on, Pip. You erased Pip's memory. Oh my goodness. And speaking of allegiances, I'm just going to keep rattling these off. Little Sniffer, whatever their name was. Okay? They went from helping the Jedi, obviously, track down Mae, right? And then running away and doing whatever that during that episode. I don't even know what that was. What the point of little sniffer guy was. And then when they get onto the ship, they know that it's not Osha, okay? They know that it's Mae. And then they have their little fight, with Pip and the oil, yada yada, right? And then in this last episode, Soul was like targeting the ship. I don't think he was going to shoot it down, or if he was going to shoot it down, obviously it was just going to be to disable it, not to kill Mae, because he needs her, as we've established here. And obviously he still loves Mae, not as much as Osha, but still, wants to keep her alive. So I didn't understand why he sabotaged the ship for Soul. Like, what was going on there? I don't know. Let's talk about the witches, shall we? And their mums. I think they just maybe could have just been Night Sisters. I think would have been so much cooler. But putting that aside, wanting that, right? Let's just look at what they showed. They showed a lot of chanting. They showed some swaying back and forth. And then it was sort of vague as to what exactly their teleporting abilities were or what they were doing. To me, and I believe to Soul, it looked like the main mom one, I'll call her, that she was about to possess Mae. That's what I thought. And in my personal opinion, everything that Soul did was justified. Minus maybe the lying. I think that everything else he did, protecting Mae, killing the mom. I know that obviously it's their mom, it's rough, but at the end of the day, she's doing creepy stuff to the kids. That's what he's here for, to protect them. He's too hard on himself, to be honest. And then Mom 2, I don't know what happened to her. And then they all sort of toppled all over like the battle droids on Naboo. But I'm not too sure. I'm not sure if we'll ever find out exactly like what the Ascension was, what the tattoos and everything meant, etc., and what their exact plans were for Mae and Osha. But for such powerful Force users, or whatever they called it, the Thread, I think, or no, that's the Night Sisters. Anyways, whatever they called it, they were taken out by 3 Jedi and a Padawan at the end of the day, and really they were all wiped out by just a mind trick, a reverse mind trick. She put the Uno reverse card down, I guess, and just, I don't know. Again, we never saw the bodies, so presumably the Coven is still out there, maybe being led by Mom 2. I would have liked to see some of the magic besides, or their abilities besides just possessing. That was cool. I'll give them that. Honestly, I enjoyed that interaction of this poor little kid just wants to go home, and she's using his weaknesses and different things, turning them against him. I did appreciate that. I actually really enjoyed that flashback episode. It just shouldn't have been that episode. Let's talk about that episode lengths and the order of everything. It's just, the one time that I was actually enjoying the show, for at least the first few episodes, was when they were finally about to fight Qimir. And then the episode just ended. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So first of all, it says online it's like 35 minutes, right? But then you've got, like 10 minutes of the different languages and the credits and all that rolling. So that is like the length of a sitcom. That is insane to me. And then you're separating all of these different parts, and then you've got this super long episode for the finale. That's how I felt. It just felt like it was having multiple endings, just kept dragging on. And I look at those short ones and I'm like, what are you doing here? And the flashbacks, we knew the Jedi were behind it. It's not a surprise that, the Jedi were involved, that it wasn't actually Mae with the fire. We're not dumb. We can see that. We also know that Qimir is the Sith. We're aware of this. It's blatantly obvious. It was just so frustrating to me. Look at the last time where we left Osha. She put on the helmet at the end of episode 6. Then we see that picked up in episode 8. That's 3 weeks, 3 different weeks that we're waiting to have that answered and see what's happening. It makes no sense to me. Let's talk about Qimir, shall we? Obviously, really enjoyed him from The Good Place, Jason over there. But then here, he's playing this charming, secretive sort of guy who's got this other identity. And then I really, the parts that I'll praise this show for was the dialogue between him and Soul. Him and Soul were the best written characters in the series. By far. All the dialogue of Soul would say something and he'd flip it over back at Soul. The writing in there was impeccable. The line deliveries and different. It was also his performance for sure, but it was also what they were writing him, what he was doing on the island as well, not Octu. That was also really good. Just everything with him and Osha there. It was genuinely really engaging. His performance was great, the writing there. And I thought that fight, the reveal, again, we already knew. It's not a surprise. Who cares? Oh my goodness. But what they did with the helmet and the cortosis or whatever it was called, that was awesome with the helmet. That was so cool. Every time that I saw something on Twitter, a little snippet, popped up in my feed over the last few weeks since that episode aired, I'd watch it every time. I honestly can't get enough of that. I think that the choreography there, using the helmet and everything, was so cool. I've seen breakdowns of that they were swinging at nothing, etc. I did see that video of the Master Swords person, breaking it down. But the action was also so fast, and just everything with Jeki and the two lightsabers, and then his two lightsabers, and oh my goodness, it was just genuinely, that was so cool. Same people choreographed that did the Praetorian Guard fight in The Last Jedi. So I definitely see some of the similarities there. And that was really good. And I also really loved their fight here in the finale. I think that was just great. I'm not sure why they let Zack Snyder direct the episode, though, with the multiple slow-mo shots. That sort of took me out of it a bit. Something else that was never explored or answered was the Kylo Ren theme. That playing multiple times throughout the series. And I'm pretty sure that the showrunner and everyone was hyping it up, being we're going to explain it. And then it never went anywhere. So I'm not really too sure. And speaking of music, the absolute worst part of the entire series, I will die on this hill, is that song that plays at the end of episode 7. That was atrocious. Oh my goodness. That is the most un-Star Wars thing I have ever heard in my entire life. They should never, ever, ever, ever put a song like that again. I don't care if it's in the credits. It doesn't matter. Never again, please. Soul is my favorite character in the show. He was just incredible. And part of that for sure is, hey, it's the guy from Squid Games. I understand that there's a little bit of bias there, but I think his performance, the fact that he doesn't even really speak English, and that he's learning English, learning these lines, giving these powerful performances and line deliveries, thoroughly, genuinely blew me away. The comparisons to Qui-Gon, they're obviously there with him wanting to train Osha. She's too old, and I'll train her anyways and disobey the council, all that. I get it, but also just how he carried himself. I really appreciated just how powerful he was, and again, the struggle that he had. I think that he was being too hard on himself, but at the end of the day, when he had to choose between Osha and Mae, I was shocked that they did that. I thought that was really well done. I really appreciated that. And speaking of being too hard on themselves, Trinity, I guess she didn't really hold any, resentment or, anything towards the past, or I guess she was mad at Soul, but covered it up, lied for him. But then, the Padawan, why did he kill himself? I didn't understand that. It's not like he slaughtered them. It's not like I don't know. He didn't do anything wrong. He was a child. He wanted to go home. And then for 10 years, he's, taken a vow of silence and all that, killed himself. I didn't understand that. That didn't make any sense to me. And the Wookiee, too, I wish that they went into more of, he's making the marks and different things because maybe they're still in their head. The witches is still in his head. I don't know. It felt disappointing for sure when he died, but that fight was pretty great. I really liked seeing a Jedi Wookiee. That was pretty cool. Probably contractually here, I have to talk about Vernestra. She's a character that exists, that is 10 steps behind pretty much all the characters throughout the entire series. And she's got the whip. I had known that was going to be in the show. I think it was leaked, or I saw a picture or something. I don't like the light whip. It has nothing to do with the show. I just don't like the concept of that. It just... And then we never even really saw it in use. She whipped it out once and then killed a bug. And it was interesting, at least, and I was saying to people, my friends and different things, and obviously Twitter was saying it too, and people who broke down the episode. It was interesting with her when she revealed the whip, that in that same episode we saw the scars on Qimir's back, and I had said to my friends, I'm like, I will give them props if they are actually being smart writing here of, oh, I was a Jedi, I was thrown out, blah, 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 and then showing the whip, and maybe those are the marks from that. So evidently in the finale we found out that it was. There was never any resolution there, and I'm not sure if there ever will be any exploration of these characters going forward, if we will ever have that story told of the past or the future. I don't really know. There's just so many questions left unanswered there at the end. Like, it was insane to see Plagueis there, but what exactly is Plagueis doing there? And what's up with Qimir? What's his relationship with Plagueis? There's a lot there. There's a lot of, I'll talk about Ki-Adi-Mundi as well, and I don't really care about his birth being changed. That's not the issue I have. It's more of the fact that he is aware of these things and not saying anything, and then it sort of counteracts the line in The Phantom Menace, and also just there's so many opportunities where Sol is about to contact the council, and then he just doesn't, right? So many times where they just could have left, and it just didn't make sense. Everyone should have died on that planet, and it would have been a closed circle, a closed loop. But leaving all of these possibilities of all of these people know that there's a Sith or a fallen Jedi out there killing... if you go back to even when the Padawan killed himself in that temple, there were Jedi, and they came into the room with our core group of characters and saw that he died. And it wasn't Sol. So what exactly is this cover-up story that they set up at the end? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Especially in that regard, and even we had witnesses with Trinity when she died. It wasn't Sol. Like, how are you pinpointing this? Like, did they also go and kill all these witnesses? Why are we buying this? Also, they filed the reports. They went after Mae. Everyone knows that they're going after Mae because, or Osha, I guess at the time, that she was the one who killed Trinity. So now we're blaming that on Sol somehow, and we're buying that? Yoda at the end, it just should have been in the show earlier, Just, he gets more use in Young Jedi Adventures than this. Bleeding the Kyber crystal... That was pretty cool to see as well in live action. That was something else. Do I want a season 2? In a way, just for closure. But if the episodes had been structured differently and they filmed more, and just it could have been so much better. There is some really good stuff in here, character wise, and some ideas and different things. But execution just was not it. Lego talk. I'll say it. Lego dodged a bullet not doing a set. I'm not entirely sure why they chose not to. It's the only show that they've done this for. I know I'm going to get comments of, Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Empire. Star Wars Visions is not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to these live action series. Even Andor had the one set, and we're going to be getting one for the Skeleton Crew. So it's a shame that, there is this huge push for the High Republic across all different forms of media, and I would even go beyond that and say toys as well. There are so much there for Young Jedi Adventures that I personally, as much as I did not enjoy the show as a whole, I would say I would kill for a Sol figure and a figure for Qimir. That would be awesome. Maybe a Star Wars minifigure series, but there are a couple ships even though I really don't like the look of High Republic ships, I wouldn't mind a set for that. And maybe they'll do this in the future. Unfortunately, just the reception of the show, I'm not sure if LEGO would risk doing a set for that. But I kind of really want it at the end of the series. I'm like, ooh, these outfits. You know, you can't deny it. The outfits look good. All the lightsaber colors are all pretty cool. As much as I may be negative towards the show, I think I've said actually a lot of positive things. But I think that there's a lot of potential for these characters. And credit to CBA Bricks 3D over on Instagram. They did and created so many minifigures for the series. I think they did a great job, and just sort of gives you an idea of what we could get for some of these characters in minifigure form. I'd really love it. Anyways, this is probably a really long video. I think I'm gonna probably trim a lot out here, and cut it down a bit. You know, I don't want to be hypocritical here when I'm talking about the pacing of the episodes, and then the pacing of this review is not great, right? But anyways, everyone, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Acolyte. Did you think it was the bad Acolyte? Did you think that it was the okay Acolyte, the good Acolyte? I don't know. Comment it all down below. If you do want to check out my other thoughts and reviews for other Star Wars shows and things, I'll put a playlist here at the end if you want to check that out. But I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Hope you all have a great day. We'll see you all in the next one.